press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello everyone. Today let us discuss about reproduction in animals. I think you all have studied about the reproduction in plants in 7th standard, like how the reproduction takes place in plants, what are the parts which are involved in this process, like male reproductive part, female reproductive part, which will be present in the flower, right? So these all were regarding the plants, but today let us discuss about how animals reproduce. Okay, what is the process involved in it? And in the if you consider the life processes such as digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion, neural conduction, these all are life processes which are responsible for an organism to be alive, okay, for a living organism to be alive. That means by these processes the organism can survive, living organism can survive. But the reproduction is somewhat different than these life processes. So like digestion, respiration, these life processes, okay, it is the reproduction is different. That means the reproduction is involved in the production of new ones, okay, it is involved in the production of new ones. That means reproduction, okay, reproduction means to reproduce. Here reproduction means it is to reproduce. That means if you consider an individual, one individual ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, this individual must give birth to a young one, right? And this individual is already reproduced by its parent. ಹೌದಾ? ಒಂದು individual ಇದೆ, it is already been reproduced by its parents, ಅಂದರೆ parent ಇಂದ it is being born from its parent, and this individual will again give birth to a new one. So here the reproduction process is spontaneous according to based on the generation after generation. So this must be continued, okay, and here it is to reproduce. Now coming to the definition of the reproduction, here reproduction means it is the process of producing offsprings that are biologically similar to its parent organism. Okay, so reproduction is a process of producing offsprings. So what is the meaning of offsprings? Offsprings means the young ones. Offsprings means the young ones, okay, for example in human beings a child, so it is the young one that are biologically similar. So this one, what is the meaning of this biologically similar? It means the organism which is going to reproduce, it must reproduce a new individual which is morphologically and physiologically similar. Here morphologically means appearance. Okay, morphologically means appearance, and physiologically means certain physiological process like life process, digestion, respiration. Okay, so biologically similar means they must be similar, they must give birth to the similar individuals which look same as their parent, and as well as whatever the activities which takes place in the body, they must also be similar. Okay, and here the parent must give birth to a young one which is similar, not identical. Okay, so here similar, what is mean by that? Similar means of its own kind. Okay, of its own kind. And what is the meaning of this own kind? That is the species. Okay, I'll write the species here. Species. What is the meaning of this species? To explain this, let me give an example. Like there are 10 individuals, a group of 10 individuals considered Homo sapiens, that is human beings, Homo sapiens. So here these individuals, they must be similar. That means their body design must be similar. Like in humans we have 2 hands, 2 legs, that is pair of hands, legs, a pair of ears, eyes, nose, mouth, right? So this is the body design. So this must be similar to the individuals which are in the group. Then we can call them as a species. Okay, and this species, the race must be continued. That means the species, like for example dog, okay, dog and collie, or else any human beings. So here dog must give birth to a dog only. Okay, it cannot produce or else it cannot reproduce a cat, right? So this is how the reproduction takes place. Like reproduction, it is the process of producing young ones which are of its own kind. Okay, which are of its own kind, or you can also call as biologically similar. Okay, so this is about the definition. Now let us discuss some of the example regarding this definition. So if you consider some of the species, what I said, like a group of individuals which are similar, we can call them as species. And this species, they are the basic level of classification in the living kingdom. If a living kingdom is present, so species, they are the basic, we can call that as basic characters which are similar, most similar characters, they are classified under species. Okay, remember this, species, that means the group of individuals which are similar to one another. Now I'll write some of the species like human. Okay, human, cow, cat, dog, hen, okay, or some of like butterfly, frog. So these are different type of organisms, different type of living organisms, and they will give birth to the young ones. Like in humans, what we call the young ones as baby, right? Baby. So cow, we call them as calf, cat as kitten, dog, puppy, and hen, chick, butterfly, caterpillar, and frog as tadpole. So these are the young ones of the parent. So if you consider this as a parent, then these are the young ones. Okay, but there are some different cases like the organisms, human, cow, cat, dog, hen, they will reproduce the young ones which are similar, like immediately. If you see the young ones born if they are born and if you see them immediately, they will be similar, like the young ones on the 10 or 2 to 3 weeks ankoli. So after that, if you see this young ones, okay, if you see this young ones, they will be similar to the parent. Okay, these young ones will be similar to the parent. So this is one case, and here the butterfly and frog and their young ones, they will be somewhat different. That means these are the lower organisms, and here in lower organisms, some of the lower organisms, the developmental stages will differ from the higher organisms. Okay, here in lower organisms like butterfly and frog, caterpillar and tadpole is one of the stage. Okay, it is one of the stage, and when this organism, when the new one will develop, okay, when they develop and become mature, then they may look similar to its parent. Okay, so here the baby, calf, kitten, puppy and chick, these all will look similar after the birth, like some period later, or around 2 to 3 weeks, they will look similar to its parent. But here the developmental stages will differ. Okay, so the developmental stages will differ in the lower organisms. So this caterpillar and tadpole is one of the stage, okay, which I have shown as a young one. And when they develop, when they become mature, they will look similar to the parent. So these are some of the examples. Okay, these are different species and their young ones. So here, if you notice, a human cannot give birth to a kitten, or else a dog cannot give birth to a calf, cow cannot give birth to a chick. So here they must maintain a species level. Okay, the human must give birth to a young one, that is a baby, or else cow must give birth to a calf. So here the species will not change. Okay, the species will not change. You must understand that the process of reproduction is to give birth to a young ones which are of its own kind. Okay, which are of its own kind. So this was about the reproduction. So here till now we had studied about different species. Okay, different species. But why do this reproduction important? Why we need, or else why this reproduction is necessary? Why reproduction is important? Okay, why this reproduction is important? So here reproduction is important to continue the race. Reproduction is important to continue the race. So what do you mean by race? That means the generations, the species, generation after generation. Okay, so if you consider your family, the grandparents, parents, now you and your children, their children, right? So here there is generation after generation. So this is continued by the species. Okay, why this is continued? Why do this, or else the living organisms must continue their race? So if it is the question, then for example dog, will live for 100 years, will live for 20 years, right? And the human will live for 100 years. So there is a group of dogs, okay, ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, group ಇದೆ. That group will survive or else they will live for 20 years, dogs, and after that if they don't reproduce then this species will become extinct, right? So this species will become extinct ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಗುರುತು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಉಳಿವು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, okay? So here these organisms will become extinct. So what is meaning of this extinct? There is no living members, okay? There is no living members of this species. So there is a certain, like dog is a species, right? So extinct andre ಯಾವುದೇ members ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Further to continue the species there won't be any members. So this is what the extinct mean, and here if they don't reproduce then this species like dog species may become extinct, okay? And nowadays you all may have heard about being endangered, the wild animals are being endangered. So here certain bird, okay, consider a bird being endangered. So I think you all have heard about that. So what happens due to the deforestation, okay, deforestation or else destroying the forest, and also fragmentations like constructing a road or else a highway in between a forest, so fragmentation will take place. So by these conditions the organisms will not get a certain environment, certain suitable environment to survive and to reproduce, to feed and to reproduce. And in case if these individuals reproduce, the young ones which are present, their survival will be difficult. That means these young ones cannot tolerate the environment or else their habitat which have been changed, okay? So this is what nowadays, like the organisms have been endangered, certain wild animals have been endangered. So this is one of the problems which nowadays the wild animals are facing, like deforestation as well as some of the fragmentation, like the forest fragmentation, like this, okay? So now the main purpose of the reproduction is to continue the race, okay, to continue the race, and also this reproduction will help in the balance of birth rate and death rate. So that means if an organism or else a species is being birthed, okay, there is a birth rate, and also if there is a death rate, they must be equal. If the population is being dead, okay, if the population will start to die, and if the reproduction or else birth rate is not right, that means it is not balanced, then the ecosystem will become imbalanced, okay? To get a healthy ecosystem, okay, if the ecosystem must be healthy, then the birth rate and the death rate, it must be balanced. Birth rate ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದೇ ಥರ death rate ಕೂಡ ಇರಬೇಕು. If the population is being dying and if that population cannot reproduce, then it will become imbalanced, okay? So for that sake, birth rate and death rate, it must be balanced, okay? And here reproduction will also help in the balance of birth rate as well as the death rate. So this was about the importance of reproduction. One main purpose of reproduction is to continue the race. That means it must continue the species, okay? Now let us discuss about the different type of reproduction, different mode of reproduction. So here different modes of reproduction. In reproduction there are two types. One is asexual, one is asexual reproduction and another one is sexual. Okay, one is asexual and another one is sexual. So here what is meant by asexual? So asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction. Okay, it is a type of reproduction which only Okay, asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction which there is only a single organism give birth to a new individual. So, which only involve a single parent. Okay, which only involve single organism. Okay, and this single organisms will give rise to a new individual. And coming to the sexual reproduction. Okay, sexual reproduction. So here sexual reproduction, it is a type of reproduction where it refers to production of new or else production of offsprings by involving or else by the fission of male and female gametes. So this is the definition of asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Here asexual reproduction means it is a type of reproduction which involves only one parent. Okay, it will involve only one parent and this one parent will give birth or else it will give rise to a new individual. But whereas in sexual reproduction this will involve the fission of male and female gamete. That is, it will involve two parents. Okay, male and female parents. By these parents the male and female gametes are produced. So this is the definition. Now let us see the difference. Okay, let us see the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction. So coming to the asexual and sexual. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Okay, so in the asexual reproduction, as I said, only one parent is involved. Okay, there is only one parent involved, whereas in sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. Okay, here only one parent is involved, whereas here two parents are involved, and there is no fission of gametes. Okay, there is no fission of gametes, but in sexual there is the fission of male and female gametes. Okay, and this asexual reproduction will lead to the similar individuals, very similar individuals. Okay, because there is only one parent involved. So asexual reproduction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು parent involvement ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದರ offsprings ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ they will be similar, very similar. But in the sexual reproduction the offsprings will be somewhat different. Okay, like they will be similar, but the similarity is more in asexual, but in sexual the similarity is less. Like if you take example of us, okay, humans, here what happens, there is involvement of male and female gamete. So ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಥರ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, but not exactly. ಹೌದಾ, ನೋಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ but not exactly. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ similarity ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, not identical but somewhat similar. Here similarity is being little less compared to the asexual. So here what happens in the sexual reproduction, the male and female gametes, okay, the male and female gametes, they will fuse to form zygote, and this zygote will further leads to the embryo, and embryo to the new individual, or else the young one. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿ zygote formation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, zygote in the embryo. So this embryo will further develop into a new individual. So this new individual will be raised from the organisms from the parents. Okay, so this was about the difference between asexual and sexual reproduction, and here asexual reproduction is most seen in the plants. Okay, asexual reproduction is most seen in the plants and also some of the lower animals. ಕೆಲವು ಲೋಯರ್ animals ಅಲ್ಲಿ asexual reproduction ನ ನೋಡಬಹುದು, whereas sexual reproduction is seen in most of the animals. Okay, this sexual is seen in most of the animals. So this was about the difference between the sexual and asexual reproduction. So in the next class, let us discuss about the gametes, like how these gametes are produced, how these gametes are formed from the male and female reproductive organs. So let us discuss about the reproductive organs present in the animals, or else reproductive organs in the humans. Okay, so for today we had discussed about the reproduction, importance of reproduction, and different modes of reproduction, that is asexual and sexual. Okay, thank you.